it's amazing to me what I think about, like how romantic I am about adversity. I would actually argue that the biggest challenge I have at 45 right now is, do I make it harder on myself in professional success because I actually enjoy it so much, the actual adversity, the slowing down of the inevitable, the process so much? Do you feel like they were meant to happen, or do you feel like they inevitably happen everywhere, and the framework one is in mentally enables them to see the positive, or to start to dwell and think about systematic issues or blaming parents, like the game of dwelling versus opportunity?
I think that it's very natural for humans to dwell. I think instinctively most of us, when we're faced with adversity at certain points in our life, it's natural for us to feel really bad about it and to try and explain it. And I think over time, the way you explain those things to yourself changes, right? And so now, and really the only way to figure out how to confront adversity is to experience it again and again and again, right? It's like any kind of muscle. You just get better at it over time.
I'm sorry to interrupt because I'm passionate about this. One of my great fears was the demonization of losing.
Yeah.
That parents, modern parenting, again, generalizing, modern parenting has created. We've demonized losing. Kids watch parents fight coaches and and teachers on behalf of their kids when they're faced with adversity.
Right.
We've demonized it so much in the last chapter, still kind of now, though there is an undercurrent of changing it a little bit, but I do feel a lot of cliche 18 to 25 right now struggle because they were put in a cocoon that really demonized losing in a world where repetition of it really does lead to happiness. Thoughts?
Gary, I think I have a theory about this. Okay. So I'm sure you've come across a lot of 18 to 25-year-olds, or maybe 18 to 30-year-olds who suffer from anxiety and depression, right? For a variety of reasons. And the truth is that I did too. When I was in my 20s, I experienced really debilitating depression, something I'd never experienced ever before in my life. And by the way, I was on the fast track to a quote unquote successful career as a young reporter at NPR. But I had so much anxiety and fear about the future and about whether I was going to make it. And I couldn't talk about it with my parents because I didn't come from that kind of culture. When my parents talked about depression, they thought mental health was for crazy people, right? Which was a normal way to think about it in the 80s and 90s. I don't want to blame them, but that's how people thought about it. And I realized with time,
you believe this is a stigma issue, and much like other things we've talked about in society, this has been a continuum. It just, thank God, we're in a place now where we can talk about it more openly.
And here's what I think. I don't necessarily think young people are any different than we were, Gen Xers were.
I agree with you.
I don't think they're any different. Actually, I think they're better. I think they're more inspiring. I think they want to take on the world in a more inspiring way.
I think they are more inspiring and inclusive and open and woke and all those things. I do think that losing was demonized for them in a way that it wasn't for us.
I think that part may be true, but I think the fundamentals are the same, which is, think about it, your whole life. For most young people, there's a track. You go from first grade to second grade, and then you go to middle school and then high school. And then if you're lucky, you go to college and people are cheering you on. They're saying, you got this, and you know what's coming up next. And then a lot of people go to college and they develop their identity there. They might get involved in sports, or they might organize a rally or a concert, or they're in the newspaper and they have an identity. And then they graduate and everyone's like, yes, you got this, you got this. And then they start life and the safety net's gone. They don't know what's coming next year. Add to that all of this research we now have about the human brain. We know the human brain continues to develop. Your prefrontal cortex continues to develop until age 30. So there's a slosh of things going on in your head. At the same time, you're starting life out, there's no safety net, and you don't know what, you're not going to grade 13. You're not going to the next year of college. So it makes a lot of sense to me that young people, people in their 20s they're so susceptible to being anxious and depressed because of all these things happening. And I think really to me, the problem is we don't talk about it enough. And they don't talk about it enough.